Hi kids. I wonder if you've ever had a chance to play with magnets. I want to show you some magnets today. A magnet is something that will pull things toward itself and sometimes will push things away. And it has to be metal. Let me show you. These are magnets. I know that they don't look much like the U-shaped magnet that you usually see, but these ones are magnetic and they pull metal. Watch what happens with this metal lid. It sticks right to the magnet. Same is true of some paper clips. Watch what happens here. Right away, they're all stuck to the magnet, and then something that's touching the magnet becomes magnetized also. So look at this. I can get them all to stick together because they are touching the magnet. They're the right kind of metal to be drawn to the magnet. Whoops, here's some more. A lot of tools have the right kind of metal to be pulled to a magnet. But then there's other things too. This kind of metal cannot be drawn to a magnet. Look at, I keep touching it, but nothing happens because that kind of metal will not be pulled by a magnet. Here we have some plastic. Plastic will not be pulled by a magnet either. And then finally I've got some wood. And wood is not going to be pulled by the magnet. Now magnets have both a north pole and a south pole. Two sides to them. On this magnet it's not so easy. You can't exactly tell. Part of this is the north and part is the south. So the part that is the opposites will attract. Opposites will attract. They will be pulled together, whereas the same kind of thing, two norths will push it away. Two souths will push it away, but a north and a south will be drawn together. Okay, so there I'm hitting the right side, but if I was hitting the wrong side, it would be pushing it away instead of drawing it close. See, you can't see it, it's invisible. The force, the magnetic force is invisible, but it is there and it's working on the magnet. Okay, now the magnetic force is strong enough that it will work through paper. Let me show you. I'm going to put those paper clips back on the paper. I'm putting my magnet underneath the paper and I'm going to draw. Look at it, looks like they're just moving by themselves, but they're not. The magnet is pulling those paper clips. Okay. The magnet is also strong enough to go through water. I want to show you that too. So here's my water. I'm throwing in one of my paper clips. Can you see that? Can you see how it's pulling? It's even in the water. Up it goes, down it goes, up it goes, down it goes. And if I put the magnet in the water, it should suck it right up. Yep. The water wasn't too strong for the magnet. The reason we're talking about this today is because our Bible story today talks about somebody who kept pushing away. When I think about the pushing force pushing away from someone who loved them.
God wanted to send a message to his people of Israel, so he gave instructions to the prophet Hosea. Marry a woman who will not love you. Be a father to her children. God was going to use Hosea's life to show his people what his love for them was like. Hosea's wife would love other men instead of Hosea, just like the people of Israel loved and worshipped other gods instead of the one true God. God was telling Hosea to do something very difficult. It's hard to love someone who doesn't love you back, but Hosea obeyed God. He married a woman named Gomer. Gomer had 3 children, Jezreel, Lo-Ruhamah, and Lo-Ami. Each child's name had an important meaning. Jezreel was the name of a city, so this name was a warning to Israel that God was going to punish Israel. They would be defeated by their enemies. Lo Ruhamah means no mercy. Let Israel know that God was not going to show them mercy anymore. They would get the punishment that they deserved. Lo Ami, which means not my people, told the Israelites that they were no longer God's people. They had broken their covenant to love and worship him. Gomer was not faithful to Hosea. She often ran away. In the same way, God's people turned away from him. They worshipped false gods. God told Hosea to go after his wife, so Hosea found Gomer and paid money to get her back. "Stop being unfaithful," Hosea said. Gomer had not loved her husband like a wife should, but Hosea loved her anyway. God gave Hosea a love that would never give up. God wanted the people of Israel to understand that they were like Gomer. The Israelites did not love God like they should, but God loved them anyway. Just like Hosea paid a high price to get back his wife who did not love him, God had a plan to get his people back no matter what the cost. The cost was the life of his Son, our Savior Jesus, who takes all sins away. Once upon a time, a little old woman was lonely, so she decided to bake a gingerbread man. She rolled out her gingerbread dough, cut out a gingerbread man, decorated him just the way she wanted him to look, and baked him in the oven. When he was baked, she opened the oven door and set the baking tray on the stove to cool. But before it was completely cool, the gingerbread man got up and looked around. The old woman tried to get a closer look, but as soon as she did, the gingerbread man ran away. He ran so fast that she could not catch him. He ran outside, and the old woman called for help. An old man tried to catch the gingerbread man, but he could not catch him either. Finally, the gingerbread man came to a river, and he could not get across it. A fox came up to the gingerbread man and said, "I can take you to the other side if you will stand on my nose." So the gingerbread man stood on his nose, and the fox started to swim in the river. But before he got to the other side, the fox flipped the gingerbread man into the air, caught him with his mouth, and chewed him up. That was the end of the gingerbread man. If only he had stayed with the old woman who had made him, he would have been safe.
Okay, everyone, that's me over there. The name's Michaels. I'm a reporter. I walk the beat, see, bringing in the latest scoop to the New York Times. It's no job for the faint of heart, believe me. But you soon learn to harden your heart to the harsh realities of the world. If you didn't, they would kill you. I thought nothing could touch me after all these years of reporting. So you can imagine how it felt when I got bowled over by one of the biggest scoops of the year. It was concerning a certain mayor of a certain nearby metropolis, Jose Goddard. Old Jose, you know, he was a bachelor so long, no one ever thought he'd get a girl. But that only goes to show you how wrong we can all be about people. Yes, love can find even a crusty old bachelor. The sensational part was not that he found love, but with whom? Sadie Rubbish. That's what everyone called her. Her real name was Sadie Radish, but she was no relish, believe me. When she was sober, she dressed to the nines with items given her by her gentlemen suitors. So I guess she thought she was a lady. Sadie Rubbish was a tramp, all right, but I couldn't believe it. Somehow she captured the heart of Mayor Jose Goddard. Him, the most upstanding politician you could ever find. Not a spot on his record, and he falls for Sadie. I tell you, I was sick when I heard it, but I must admit, I was also intrigued. How's it feel to have Sadie for your wife, I asked. This is the happiest day of my life, he says, and he stuffs a roll of 20s in my pocket. It wasn't a bribe for good coverage. I could tell. He really felt like $1 million that day. But predictably, things didn't stay so sweet and innocent. A few weeks later, I got a lead that Sadie'd run off with another man. I started scouring the gutter, and it wasn't long before I found her, and Jose, in a hallway of the Roxy apartments. Jose wasn't so happy now, but he was still doling out the money. This time to Buddy Schmidt. I followed from a distance as I saw him hold open the door of the limo for his lady love. The smile was back on his face. It was only a matter of time before this whole scene was repeated. Again. And again. Finally, I cornered Jose on one of those evenings when Sadie was on the town. Who knew if she'd ever come home? Why, I demanded. Why all the fuss and misery over Sadie? She's rubbish, like everyone says. No, Goddard replied. She's my wife, and I love her. Why, I said. After all the things she did to you, how unfaithful she's been, how she drags your name through the mud with each of her wild adventures. Why, ma'am? Why do you still treat her so good? And then he said it, the phrase that made my heart stand still for a few moments. I treat her the way God treats us. I stood there with my mouth hanging open as he walked casually away. But when I caught my breath, I finally mumbled, and the way she treats you, Jose, is the way we often treat God.
I'd like to tell you about another kind of a mission trip that I got to go on, a kind you might want to go on someday. This trip was to Belize, a country in Central America. I went with a group of teenagers and parents. It took 2 plane trips to get there. So when we landed at the airport, we were tired. But we put our bags at the hotel and then went to an orphanage, a place where kids who do not have parents live. We played with the kids. Then we went to the church that would be our main place to work for the week. It needed a new tin roof to keep out the hard-falling rains that often came. We put a new roof on the church. Then we fixed up the shed that was in the backyard. It looked much better when we finished. And the church can now use it to teach Sunday school in. I wonder if some of you may go on this kind of a building mission trip someday.